Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Friday and we have another review of one of the gifts I was given for my birthday. These are the Master Art Premium colored pencils. This is the 150 set. These are out of Thailand and are extra soft, extra bright, extra break resistant, extra smooth, extra lay down, extra lead size, and extra everything. They are the extra pencils. No, they are actually a fairly nice set of pencils. They have a really good amount of colors. I only found extreme issues with one color out of the full 150 set, which is a really, really good thing. They are available through Thailand. They are a 3.3 millimeter core. They come with a full swatch sheet that tells you all the different colors of the pastels, the metallics, the neons, as well as the full regular colors. I did not use that swatch chart. It also gives you a thank you card, which gives you their website, their Facebook group, their Instagram and Twitter, or X now. You can just scan the little code and it'll tell you all about it. It also gives you, let's pull this out, further information about the pencils. However, it is in Thai, and I can't read it. So that was not very helpful to me. But, if you can read Thai, it'll be very helpful to you. But I did swatch them, and I do have a swatch video for us to watch. So sit back and grab your cup of coffee. We'll take a quick look at the pencils first. So one of the things I like about it is it does have this heavy duty plastic cover which covers all of the pencils. And I think that actually saved the pencils a lot because there's some dings and dents that could have possibly damaged the pencils quite a bit. Each layer of pencils has a wax paper cover that has all of the pencils in their color order on the sheet. So if you do want to put them back in the box in the exact same color order that they came in, you can do that. I did not. Each of the pencils does have a name on the pencil. So it does have, say, lemon yellow and then the Master Art there. I will be going through and adding a number at the bottom of the pencil because as you sharpen your pencil, once you get to this point here, which is about 3/4 of the way down the pencil, you won't be able to know what the name is any longer. And then it will make it more difficult to locate that pencil. It does come with its own blender. I haven't tried the blender a lot, but we will be testing that today. And it does come with 2 small sharpeners, which I have also not tested. All right, so grab your cup of coffee, your water, your beverage of the day, sit back and relax. We're going to do a very quick swatch. I do not swatch this fast, so please do not get any ideas that I have swatched so many sets of pencils that I can do it lightning fast. I cannot. This is going to take about 3 minutes, so sit back. I will be right back. Okay, see, that wasn't too bad. And for some reason I have a shadow, so I'm going to turn on the light here. There. I don't know what that shadow's from. It's very strange. Hold on a sec, let me fix this. For some reason I'm getting a really weird shadowing on the camera, and I don't know why. Very, very strange. Let's turn that down a little. Huh. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm getting this weird shadow. Very strange. I'm going to zoom you in. Maybe that'll help. There. Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know why I was getting that really weird shadow. It's one of those days out. It's very, very dark and very gloomy, and every once in a while the sun will peek out and then it'll come over with a great big huge dark cloud and cover it up again. So yeah, no, not a great day for filming in front of the window. All right, so these are the Master Art Premium. They are, like I said, 150 colors. You do have all your yellows here into your light peach orange colors, your oranges into your orange reds, into your reds, your red purples, and then into your pinks, into your pink purples, into your purples, into your blue purples, and then into your blues, into your blue greens, your green blues, into your greens, and then into your brown greens, into your browns, and then into your grays. At this point here, we have all our metallics and then all of our fluorescent colors. So there is quite a lot of pencils in the set. There's 150 pencils in the set. Gives you a good balanced variety of different colors. Now, some of these pencils are classified as pastel, some are classified as metallic, and some are classified as neon. So approximately 20, how many? 41. 41 of these colors are classified as pastel. That seems like a lot. 3, 6. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 30. Yep, 41. Just yeah, that seems like a lot of colors because they have 124 colors in their regular set without the pastels. And for it to have 41 pastel colors, 10 metallics, and then 6 neons, that's like, you know, quite a few in the set. So they do blend into the set quite well, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just really kind of surprised that there was that many pastel colors. On their website, it didn't seem like there was that many because they're supposed to have 124 colors plus the pastels and the neons and the metallics. So either some of the pastels are in the 124 set that they haven't counted, which is very possible. But yeah, it's a little surprising that they have it listed as that many pastels. Now I'm going to test the sharpener on the three colors that we use for our testing. So we have red, so it's red, and we're going to sharpen it with the sharpener here. Now these sharpeners are the sharpeners that come with the pencils. 9 times out of 10 they're not fantastic. 7 times out of 10 I break the pencil. So they are sharpening quite nicely, although the wood is separating quite a bit there. So it is grabbing and tearing the wood, as you can see there. It's not sharpening that wood very nicely at all. So it's given it a bit of a tear instead of giving it a clean sharp. So let's check this one. That's another thing I don't like about these kind of sharpeners is they will hold on to the color. Again, it's tearing the wood, so it's not giving it a good sharpen. I would not suggest using the sharpener that comes with the pencil. I don't like the way that that's tearing at the wood. It does give it a nice sharp point. I'm just not enthusiastic about the way it's tearing at the wood. So I'm not going to use that to sharpen the blue because I don't want to ruin my blue pencil. I don't want to ruin any of the pencils, but I've already done it to 2. I don't want to do it to a 3rd. So this is my Deli pencil. It's like the doll. It is a hand crank sharpener. 2 little cranks. Didn't tear the wood. Nice clean sharpen. Lots of length on that lead. So it is definitely the sharpener that seems to have done the peeling or tearing at the wood and giving it a little bit of a jagged feel to it. All right, so don't use the sharpeners. I'm going to grab this is the blender that they have graciously given us. These are a 3.3 millimeter core again, like I said, and they are made in Thailand. They are the only company in Thailand, colored pencil company in Thailand, that has compliance of the EN71 standards as well as the ASTM standards, which is really kind of impressive. I'm going to zoom you in so we can take a look at the composition of the pencils, whether or not they're water resistant, smudge resistant, that sort of thing. We're going to grab one of our water pens here. Let's grab one of the ones from maybe. Need one that actually has water in it. Ah, there's one. So these are the ones I got for my birthday. They have water in it from when I worked on the picture on Monday. All right, so we're gonna not jab ourselves with the pen, make sure there's nothing on our paper. We're going to start with the red. Now these are they feel like a wax-based core to me. However, I have been able to lay them down in small layers, but they do feel, if you put down a heavy hand, that you may not be able to layer any more pencil up. I haven't had any wax bloom on anything I've practiced them on, but I do find that they do have that smooth wax glide after a couple of layers, if you know what I mean. Like at this point, they're not going to take any more color. All right, now the yellow. I have not had any pencils break. However, I've had 1 or 2 that are not centered, so they don't sharpen properly. One that's really bad out of 150, which isn't horrible. I would prefer there was 0, but having just 1 out of the 150 isn't all that bad. And grab my brush and brush away any excess. And then we're going to come in with the blue. Again, I'm being very light-handed. so that I can build that color up and see how long it takes before I can no longer add color. Now I could press really hard and fill in the entire thing quite darkly, like quite heavily. Um, and in this test it wouldn't matter, but that's not the way I color. So I need to know if they color properly for me. Now, we will be testing that theory in the color blend, if we can blend those colors together pressure-wise or with layers. But at this point, we're just going to be testing the water and the smudge. All right, we're going to go and fill in this one too. Might as well while we're here. Again, filling it in the same way I would if I was coloring with them on a coloring page. This is the 65 or 67 pound Nina cardstock, and it has a good amount of tooth, but it doesn't have a huge amount of tooth. So colored pencils like this, if they are a wax blend, 9 times out of 10 won't layer properly on it. You do have to kind of push the colors together, which is fine. A lot of people that use Prismas are really brilliant in doing that. I'm not so brilliant at doing that. I don't know how they do it. I watched Barbara today and it's like, how are you making them look so pretty? Alright, and then we're going to go over it again. Fill that in. Now they are a little dusty because they're soft. So if you are finding that you're getting little crumbles everywhere, make sure that you dust off your page. Otherwise, you're going to be dragging those little crumbles everywhere. You will notice that with high quality pencils as well, such as Prisma and that sort of thing, where they will put off little bits of the dust as you're coloring, and that's just because they're a really soft pencil and they do have a bit of a crumble effect. They're not an oil base harder pencil. They are a much softer wax. They feel like a wax-based pencil to me. They do not say anywhere in their information what type of core base they have, just that it is a new blend that is extra smooth and extra soft. So that tells me that they're possibly a wax base that is using a softer wax. All right. So there we have our swatches done, ready to go. Now we're going to do our water test first. I'm going to make sure there's water in, and then we're going to go over. Now I'm not scrubbing, I'm just moving the brush over top, and as you can see, it's picking up that red color and it's moving it. So the red is definitely not water resistant. The reason why I do the water resistancy test is to verify whether or not I need to use something over top of the pencil to keep it from moving when I've got a lot of water on there. When I use things like stickles, liquid pearls, things like that. And these, as you can see, there is the blue. So these are definitely not water resistant. So when you are using things such as stickles, your gel pens, anything that is a water base, try to make sure that you either stay within the lines, use a color that's similar to the color you're using, and if you're using a clear color that you don't want to have absorb the color that you're going over top of, that you use something like a Caran d'Ache blender or something that's going to give you that water resistance level. And try not to go outside of the lines because it will drag it around. All right, so now we're going to do our smudge test. Ooh, very smudgy. So they definitely smudge with my hands. So that's another thing I have to be careful of. The reason why I do the smudge test is for my own personal use. Um, I keep the smudge test on the sheet because it tells you, for every person is different. It tells you whether or not your hand is going to move those pencils while you're coloring. So what that tells me is that while I'm coloring, if I'm going over an area that I've already colored, 9 times out of 10, because my hand rests on the page and goes back and forth, 9 times out of 10, my hand is going to move that color back and forth as I color. So be careful of that. Now we're going to do a 3-color blend. So we're going to take some pinks. Let's grab this. Well, let's check our chart first, make sure that we get the right gradients. So let's get hot pink, hydrangea pink, and pure pink. Hot pink, hydrangea pink, and pure pink. All right. Now we're going to see if we can, first of all, I'm going to do this in 2 different layers. So I'm going to do the top layer and then I'm going to do the bottom layer. I'm going to draw a line through here. The top layer we're going to layer and squish. Because these are a softer pencil, I want to see which one of those techniques works best for them. Okay, so as I was saying about not being centered, this one here is one of those that is not centered. And when your pencil is not centered, you will find that the wood climbs up the one side that is furthest away from the edge of the lead. So this side here is going to have more of that wood on the lead than on the other side because the other side is closer to the edge. So not a big deal. You can sharpen past it and work with it. However, it can be annoying as you get down further and further into the core. All right, going to start with the hot pink. And this one here we're going to layer. So this one here we're going to put the color down in layers. There are some pencils that you can do this with, other pencils not so much. So don't think that every set of pencils that you have is going to be able to squish if it's not able to layer, or going to be able to layer if it's not going to be squished, and vice versa. Sometimes you can do both. Sometimes you can layer and squish. So you can definitely do this and test your pencils on whether or not this is something that they'll do. But if you're not able to, don't get frustrated with it. Sometimes some pencils are meant for certain things and not meant for others. All right, so I'm going over top of the hot pink with the hydrangea. And then the pure pink. Then we're going to go back with the pure pink, filling that in. And then the hydrangea. Going through and filling in that white spot. And then the hot pink. Definitely can layer the colors together and get a smooth gradient, a smooth blend from one color to the next color to the next color. So definitely can do that and get that with layering. I'm just going to put another layer on just because there's still quite a bit of tooth there. But sometimes the wax fills in the paper and the deeper tooth it just glides right over. So that's why you use the blender on it. Alright, so it definitely has the 3-color gradient there. Now we're going to do the squish method. So we're going to start light to dark in the squish method. So we're going to use a heavier hand. I'm going to come all the way back here, trying to keep it even. And we're going to go this color. And this is where you get to see whether or not it's going to combine. So using a heavier pressure, you get more of a filled area, brighter color. You can take that heavier hand and squish those colors together to create that blend. Now I'm just going back over, pushing a little bit harder, filling in the color, blending those together. So definitely does both the layer as well as the squish. The layer does give a lighter level of color than the squish, but it definitely does layer together and fill it in. So this will give you more of a pastel color where you have to, say, use a blender to bring out that brighter color, where with squishing it brings out that brighter color very quickly. So definitely can squish those colors together. Now let's see if we can do a rainbow blend. We're going to do the same sort of thing, but we are going to squish these together because it seems to work better for these pencils. So we're going to start with our red. And then our yellow. We're going to start back here because we're going to squish, so we're going to bring that yellow from where we need the blue to come into it all the way to where we need the red to come into it. So now we're going to start squishing those colors together. Just creating that orange. Now I'm going to take the red and I'm going to finish that off. So where the yellow comes into the red, you get a yellow-orange. Now I'm going to come into the yellow with the red, which is going to give you that brighter yellow-orange. So definitely can squish those colors together to create a orange color. Now make sure that your yellow has no red on it, or you're going to get that. I did not do a good enough job on making sure that red was off of it. And we're going to fill this in and bring it in here for the blue to come in and create green. So again, I'm going to fill in the whole area with a heavier hand. And like I said, these pencils do seem to work better this way. So if you are somebody that does have a heavier hand and is used to coloring with a heavy, waxier pencil, this set will work really well for you. They are smooth enough and soft enough to be able to do this without putting too much pressure down and getting too far into where it hurts one's hand. But that definitely created green. So they definitely work better in a smoosh factor. All right, so we're going to do a blender test here. Now we're going to not smush here because we want to see if the blender is going to move those colors together without us blending them together themselves. So without us smushing them, we're going to see if the blender is going to move those colors. Now I am using the blender that came with the set. I will use the Caran d'Ache blender for half and the blender that came with the set for the other half. So I'll do the top layer, the top half with the blender that came with the set, the bottom half with the Caran d'Ache blender. And like I said, I'm not going to move them together with smushing or layering. I'm going to butt them right up to each other and see if we can move them with the blender. The one thing that I do want to remind you is with any blender, you have to have enough pencil on the page for that blender to move. Otherwise, it's just not going to move it. And if you don't have enough pencil down, it's just going to peel your pencil off the page and it's going to be very, very frustrating. All right, so there's our test layer. Now we're going to take our pen and we're going to go here and here. Of course, my pen has decided not to work anymore. Great. Come on, pen. Figures. That's Caran d'Ache and this is Master. Alright, so the first layer that we're going to do is the master. So we're going to start from light, work our way to the dark. Make sure I don't have anything on the blender. I am going to go the opposite direction that I colored. Now typically the blender will have the same composition as the pencil that they come with. However, I'm finding this blender is a lot harder than the pencils. But it does blend them together. It does give us that transition as well as gets rid of the white spot. Without lifting a whole lot of it off. There's a little bit of lift off, but not a whole bunch. So that's pretty good. Now we're going to do the Caran d'Ache blender. Make sure there's nothing on your blender. And we're going to go in the opposite direction. And turn it here so you can see. And as you can see, the Caran d'Ache blender moves it as well. Fills in that white spot. Gives us that transition. pretty nicely. Now the Caran d'Ache blender will give you some water protection, so some water resistance, if you decide that you want to use something wet on top of your pencil. And I am finding that going this way with it afterwards, I did with this one as well, but the Caran d'Ache does seem to move everything together just that little bit better and remove that white spot, make that a nice smooth coverage. So I think the Master Blender works well on these pencils and does a very nice job in blending them together. I do find that the Caran d'Ache blender does work just that touch better, but that's not saying that the Master's blender will not work with their own pencils. I have not tried it on any other pencils, so I can't say whether or not it will work on other pencils. Now we're going to check and see if it's blendable with the white pencil. The white pencil is made of the exact same compound mixture that the pencils are, so it does make it a lot easier to blend with that. However, sometimes the white is very opaque, and if the white is very opaque, you will find that the colors are muted down quite a bit by the white, making it not as bright and not as colorful. So if that's the kind of look you're going for, by all means blend with your white, but if you do find that your white is very opaque, be very careful of how much it's going to tone it down. So test that on a back page or something that you want to see what it's going to do to that color, whether or not it's a good idea to blend with the white or to blend with the blender pencil in the area you're using your pencils. All right, so I'm going to put down the hot pink. Again, I'm putting down a good fair layer. I'm not putting down a heavy layer. I'm not squishing these colors together. I'm going to let the white pencil do that. All right, there's the hot pink. This is the hydrangea pink. And then the pure pink. The hydrangea pink has a little touch of purple in it when you go against the pinkier pinks. That's interesting. All right. So, of course, we're going to start at the lightest area first, working our way across. Blending it together. Not getting any lift up. Getting a little bit of cast off from the white, as well as getting a toning down of the color. But it is definitely blending that through, moving that color around a little bit, filling in that white spot, and transitioning it into the next color. But it is giving a white hue, and it is filling in some of that white spot with the white pencil instead of moving the other colors to it. Just going to go this way now. Like so. So it does definitely smooth it out. It definitely does bring it a little bit together. However, it does lighten the colors of the pencil brightness, so it does bring that brightness down, and it doesn't transition it as well as, say, the blenders or the smushing effect of one color to another. So even though it is quite opaque, it did bring it down a little bit in color, but it didn't move that color together and smush it together into a blend. It did fill the white spot, and it did smooth that color layer out. All right, so let's do cost per pencil here. We have the $56.99 is the cost of the set. There is a 5% off coupon currently on the Amazon. So let's do 54.14 divided by 150 pencils equals 36 cents a pencil. Now that's not too bad. And of course my pen is going to not want to work. 36 cents per. Okay, so 36 cents per pencil. Now I've seen cheaper, a lot cheaper, and I've seen more expensive. I've seen cheaper that work better, and I've seen more expensive that work worse. So one way or another, they are very, very even keel on the cost per pencil, which is good. It's a good cost per pencil for a budget-friendly set. So I would say yes, it's a good it'll get 5 stars for the cost per pencil because of the amount of pencils you get as well as the amount of color selection you get. So now we're on to color selection. So to me, I feel that they have a good even level of color selection from our yellows into our lighter orange tones, into our orange tones, into those red, oranges, and reds. Now, again, this set is like every other set. There's not a huge amount of what I would classify as pure red, but they do have quite a few that will work really well together to give a red combination. And then, of course, into our purple reds and into our pinks. Really good selection of pinks into our purple pinks, our purples, and our blue purples into our blues. Again, another company that has quite a few blues and quite a few greens. So their blue-green ratio to other colors is very uneven, but that's normal for most companies. So we've got our blues into our blue greens, into our green blues, into our greens, our green browns into our browns, our brown grays into our grays, and then our metallics and our neons. So it has a really, really good selection of colors. It has a good balance of color. Now, the only unbalanced areas that I have found that are pretty much prominent through any colored pencil production is the predominance of the blue and the green. So there does seem to be a lot more blues and greens with every set of pencils. So other than that area, I think they're pretty even keel. So I am going to take 1 star from that for the fact that the blues and greens are unbalanced with the other colors. Color saturation is really good. They are, like I said, they are a squish pencil, so they saturate very well as a squish pencil. Even as a layering pencil, the colors do come up very pretty, and once you blend them, they blend together very, very saturated. They are not open stock, so that gives them a 1 there. Okay. They failed the water resistance test. They failed the smudge test. They passed, the color blend test, the rainbow blend, the the blender test, as well as the white test. Both the Master and the Caran d'Ache blenders work very well with this set. I do find that the Caran d'Ache does blend those colors together in a gradient blend a little bit better than the Master's own blender that comes with the set. The white blended it to a smooth surface blend, however, it didn't completely blend those colors together into a gradient. So I'm actually going to only give it half points for that. All right, so that let's tally that up out of 20. So that's 1, 2, 3, 5, 9, 8, 9, 10, 12, 17, 18. So that's 18 out of 20. So that's a um, pretty good scoring on this test. Uh, Everybody's testing is going to be different. Don't take my testing for the way that it should be done. This is just the way I test my pencils for myself, and to give you guys an idea of what kind of information you, that you're going to find useful um, in your coloring journey. So we're going to quickly color one little area here. Let's see, we've got a few minutes left. And we're going to see how well we can blend those together in an actual coloring area. I'm going to take our pinks here, and we're going to go from dark to light on one flower here, and then we'll go light to dark on the other. Now I'm just going to sharpen these because I did, take those tips down quite a bit. And again, this pencil here is going to have a bit of an issue sharpening because of the fact that it is not centered. And that's another mark that I would take down, is the fact that it is not centered very well. There are a couple of them that aren't centered all that fantastic. And as long as you can sharpen past it, it's not a big deal. But I did find one pencil that I wasn't able to sharpen past that unevenness in the wood. So I would definitely give a mark, well, 1 out of 150, a point 1 mark off of that. So we would say it was 7.9, 17.9 out of 20. So I'm going through with the hot pink, and we're going from dark to light on this one, and we'll go from light to dark on the other. Now, like I said on this testing, we are finding that the best way to use these is to squish them. So I am using a heavier hand than I normally would to put down that layer of color. Still making sure I leave that tail for the next color to blend into. One moment. Sorry about that. Suddenly had a tickle in my throat. All right. Great, now I've got sneezes. Sorry, guys. Ay, ay, ay. A tickle and then a sneeze. It's not usually a good thing. All right, so I'm coming down into that pink with the hydrangea pink, the hot pink, and I'm using a little bit pressure, bringing those colors together. Now I've got the sniffles. Sorry. And then we'll take that pure pink and we'll work down into it. Blending that all together. I think that worked out quite nicely. Now remember that these do smudge as well, so make sure that you don't put your hands over top of it if you smudge pencils like I do. I smudge pencils. I'm a pencil smudger. You keep your brush handy. They are a softer pencil that do crumble a little bit because of the soft lead. But they are definitely a smusher pencil. So they smush together quite nicely. And they, blended each other, so that's great. Now we're going to start light, and we're going to put a light layer down. And then we're going to go in with our medium and then our dark. And then we're going to bring that light layer through and smush it all together. Like so. And then we'll smush that all together. Like that. And both directions work very nicely. So as you can see, you can definitely build a nice coloring with them. Even on, say, the butterfly here, you can go through and put in your layers. So with squishing, you will find that you are blending a lot of colors together, creating those new colors. So unless you are going gradient like we did on the flowers, it is best to put the colors that you want to change down first. So with putting the red down first, I can change the visual of the areas that I have color on to an orange visual. So I can mash those in like so and get that orange color that I have in my monarch butterflies, as well as the red that I have in them as well as the yellow. Just with using the pressure and the mashing of the pencil to create that new color, like so. So definitely gives you the ability to move those colors together as well as blend by layering. But like I said, they do feel better and work better as a masher. So as a smush, smush, smush instead of layer, layer, layer. Definitely gives you a better result. I prefer layering. But again, like I said, you can layer with these. They just don't give you as clean of a result until after you use the blender as the smushing does. All right, guys, with that, these are the Master Art Premium Colored Pencils. My opinion of them is pretty good so far. I have used them on a page that I started actually on here. I went through and I did some correction, if I can find it, did some correction on the page that we started with the no-no pencils. So you can still see the grayscale that the Art Skills pencils brought out. However, I was able to do a bit of color correction and bring that down. This side here has been done with the master. It's not finished. I've still got a few hairs through here that I need to fill in, and I've still got to do the dark areas, the hair, her neck, and so forth. But I was able to bring out the color of the picture instead of just the gray, and I was able to bring that gray back down a little bit in these areas that the other pencils drug out. So I am working with them and I am playing with them, and I'm finding that they work quite well on the grayscale pages that are in the Rachel Minsk coloring book. This is Angelic Beauties 2, Grayscale Coloring Book for Adults by Rachel Minsk. And like I said, they're working quite well on covering up the problems that the previous pencils that happened with the previous pencils. That's the words I'm looking for. So my overall opinion between coloring with them myself as well as doing the swatch chart and the testing and everything else, my opinion of the pencils is that they are a very nice set of 150 pencils. If you have a heavier hand and are used to coloring with a Prismacolor pencil, these pencils will be no problem for you at all. If you are like me and are used to using a harder pencil and layering that color up and building that color up, you may find that these pencils are very difficult to get used to. But once you do get used to them, it's sort of like the Prismacolor, the Black Widow, that sort of thing. There's a learning curve to them where you just got to figure out what's the best way to use them. And I find with the testing that I did today, especially, the best way to use these pencils is to push them together. Just use a heavier hand and push the colors together. And keep on pushing until you're to the point where you are happiest with the colors. So, with that, that's my opinion on them. They're 150 colors, a really, really nice set of pencils, good set of color blend. The only two that I find are off balance. Of course, with every set, it's exactly the same. The blue and the green are off balance, and that's the way you will find every set ever. But they mash together mush together, not mash. They smush together very nicely to create those color blends that you want when you're coloring and the coverage that you want when you're coloring. They do layer together. However, layering together does require you to use your blender, where doing a squish together or a heavier hand blending together of colors, you're not going to need to use your blender. However, you are going to take up the tooth of the paper very quickly, and if you're working on a smooth paper, you may find that to be a problem. Yeah, so I think that's about it. Like I said, they are a 3.3 millimeter core. The pencil sharpeners that come with them, don't use them. They're not any good. They do conform to and are compliant with the EN 71 compliance code as well as the ASTM, which is a great thing because they are the first company in Thailand to conform to both of those licensing. So, all right. So with that, thank you all very much for watching. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And of course, always remember to relax color. And stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye bye for now.